So, in my previous videos, I mentioned how the X-Men are tired of playing by humanity's rules and wish to see their people thrive, and how humanity's fear of mutants is justified, but their actions are not. Now more than ever, humanity and mutant kind are at a crossroads. Will they fight and destroy each other like in every other timeline? Or will they finally unite and achieve Xavier's original dream? In this video, I want to talk about how I feel in Jonathan Hickman's overall story, that both sides will lose this war, but might be forced to come together when all is said and done. Alright, so the story so far is that the X-Men have established Krakoa as their own nation, and have declared amnesty for mutants all over the world. These events have caused a human supremacist group called Orchis to start waging war against mutant kind and win by any means necessary. So, now that we have the setup, I can talk about how both sides will lose due to their own hubris and choices. And first off, we'll start with the mutants. Okay, so it is said that a house built on lies will inevitably fall. And I believe that Jonathan Hickman took this course to heart when writing this story. While yes, it is a good thing that mutants, are taking their destiny into their own hands, Professor X, Magneto, and Moira are keeping everyone on Krakoa in the dark about how dark the future really is for mutant kind. They haven't told anyone that in each timeline they lose no matter what they do. And by the rules of storytelling, this means that this secret will eventually get out no matter what. Which also brings up another problem. Moira, Magneto, and Professor X have made a rule that there are to be no precognizant mutants on Krakoa. And this will bring some conflict through Mystique, who has been promised that her lover, Destiny, will be brought back to life through the Five who were previously established in House of X. And Destiny is a precog, which means that Professor X and Magneto essentially lied to her and essentially are leaving certain mutants out of Krakoa. And this can only go one way, really. When people discover that certain mutants are being left out of Krakoa, they'll eventually question Magneto and Charles on why they're being left out. And when they won't get a straight answer, this will lead to distrust and disdain for Charles and Magneto for looking like hypocrites, saying that they want all mutants on Krakoa, yet are leaving certain mutants out. I believe that mutants like Mystique and even Cyclops will end up turning their backs on Magneto and Professor X and will leave Krakoa vulnerable as a whole. And I believe that when Charles, Moira, and Magneto are exposed, they'll be exiled from Krakoa like they did to Sabretooth, which will leave Krakoa vulnerable to mutants like Mr. Sinister and Apocalypse. Humans haven't exactly been the most understanding beings in the world of the Marvel Universe, or even in our own world for that matter. I believe that when they lose this war against the mutants, they will not only lose their humanity, but their souls as well. Let me explain. It is often said that how you fight your battles is just as important as why you fight. And the way humans fight right now shows that they have no regard for the rules they themselves have set. Experimentation that devolves humans back into apes, experimentation on child mutants to get a post-human phase going, not respecting amnesty of mutants, and potentially fake news are all games that humans are playing to win this war, but in the end, they will lose this game. In the first issue of Marauders by Gary Dugan, Matteo Lally, and Federico Beli, there's a scene in Taipei, Taiwan, where a political figure is telling her people that her husband touched a gate of Krakoa and disappeared, all while spewing about how God will bless humanity and the mutants are destroying families. However, when told by Lucas Bishop, a mutant commander of Krakoa, that they have no record of her husband even entering the gates, or touching them for that matter, she says that his words are worthless due to the fact that he is a mutant. For me, this is a clear sign that either A, she herself killed her husband and is using his death and the mutant situation to gain political power and springmark her political career, or that there might be something wrong with the Krakoa gates because not even Kitty Pryde, a mutant, was able to enter. But that's a video for another time. I believe that if word gets out that politicians like this are indeed lying and spreading fake news about mutants, that the common folk will start having sympathy for mutants and showing, that they don't trust their leaders in situations like this. And when Orchis and their deeds get out, it'll only exacerbate the problem. And I feel that when the powers that be lose the favor of the people, they'll get desperate and start doing things that show their true colors and try to destroy the mutants, while, saying that, like I said in the past, that they're against it, but aren't really against it, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, no one can truly predict where Jonathan Hickman's story will go, but it's sure fun to guess. I believe that the story will end with the skeletons on both sides coming out and no side having leverage over the other. I believe that both sides will be shown at their best and at their worst, and when all the mistrust, resentment, and hostility have been dropped, both sides will be at a crossroads, which will lead to either A, both sides starting over from scratch and trying to achieve the original dream of Charles Xavier, or B, they'll either destroy each other like they always do. I personally would find it more interesting if Jonathan Hickman found a way for humanity and mutants to coexist finally. Maybe world leaders shake hands with Cyclops or Magneto and Professor X and show that, hey, both sides have done dirty and shady things to each other, but that doesn't mean you can't start over or be redeemed. But it's comics, it's Marvel, and the status quo is always returned to, so not really expecting much. But what do you guys think? What do you guys believe will happen in this story? Do you think that Jonathan Hickman will finally achieve Professor X's original dream? Or do you think everything will just be reset back to zero at the end of the day? I have more theories concerning this storyline coming, but I want to wait before I post any. And yeah, you guys have a blessed day, and I'll see you next time.